2 years ago, I had my first D-Day. Wow, how my life has changed since. I find myself fighting darkness again lately. Perhaps it's the anniversary, perhaps it's fatigue, perhaps it's a little bit of a lot of things, so I write to clear my head. This blog is simply the ramblings of a betrayed man in the weeds. We recently moved. Some events in my working life late last year instigated a domino effect that resulted in my professional world scaling down in a good way. My wife and I made the decision to move from a very large house we had lived in for over a decade into one half its size. The home in which we raised our children, lived what I thought was a dream marriage, then experienced its fall, is no longer where I rest my head at night. The way these events fell into place really made this transition feel like a God-sent opportunity to hit the reset button, simplify life, and truly begin to focus on starting over. I have spent the last several months throwing away the old and buying new. Parts have been redeeming, and parts have dug up old, painful bones. As the smoke settles, I think I am beginning to see a glimpse of my new reality. It has its perks, but it definitely ain't all rosy. This truly is a daily struggle, even now. While I suspect it will get easier with time, I am beginning to accept that the effects of my wife's betrayal are lasting and, to some degree, will linger a lifetime. A few months ago, I wrote about how I had come to the decision to stay. I had hoped making this commitment would help push me through some of my lingering doubt and move me into a more present future. The opposite has been true. While my wife continues well over a year of consistent empathy, remorse, and newfound humility, I find myself feeling trapped. She feels grateful. I feel stuck. You see, the old me, the confident guy who sought out impossible challenges, thrived on achievement, ambition, and success would have been so judgmental of the new me. This guy who is choosing to be married to a woman that so easily dismissed and mocked him. I am still struggling to accept that some professional opportunities, political aspirations, and future plans may no longer be in my best interest, as the threat of exposure and the damage it could bring my children is too great. I have spent the last 2 years feeling the daily pain of contemplating my wife having sex with other men, and I'm tired. Don't get me wrong, the programs and therapy work. EMDR has been a powerful tool, and the triggers are much more tolerable and manageable. But the reality is, in all my group work and the many relationships that I've developed with betrayed men on a similar journey over the last 2 years, I am yet to meet one who has stayed with his unfaithful wife and no longer triggers at some level during sex. And some of these men have been more than a decade out from discovery. I have had highly qualified, well-intentioned counselors tell me these men exist, yet none have been able to introduce me to one. The consequences of the selfish and immature acts of infidelity are still constantly evident, at times even overwhelming. Even now, after years of constant work. Through this process, I have developed friendships with a number of betrayed men on similar journeys. One group of these men communicates often, and recently the conversation turned to the loss of the feeling of a special bond with our wives and the loss of that loving feeling we all seem to experience. I value this group's thoughts greatly. Many are much further down the road than I. It left me thinking, I am not even sure I know what love feels like anymore. My new perspective is love is a choice, not a feeling, but I do miss the desire to pursue her. I have chosen to act in her best interest by staying to raise our children, providing financial and emotional support, therapy resources, protecting her as best I can from exposure caused by her humiliating acts, even when her actions practically destroyed me. At times, I am attracted and aroused by her. At times I am repulsed and pity her. At times it all mixes together simultaneously and leaves me withdrawn, broken, or angry. Once again, feelings prove fickle and unreliable. One of the members of the group, who is often wise in his insight, noted trust had to rebuild to a high level before the desire to pursue her returned in earnest. I like that thought, and perhaps that is in my future. While there are resources to help, nothing can erase reality. It can only be accepted. I have to learn to live with being misunderstood by many I consider friends. My choice lies in perspective, but the positive choice, the one that draws me closer to his purpose for my life, is not always easily ascertained, nor swallowed and believed. So what is the point? Why tolerate it all? Truth is, I do not have a choice. While I am sure my newly recovered wife, free of the bondage of all her secrets, could easily find a new relationship without all this baggage, and likely enjoy more uninhibited admiration and desire from another man. I will carry the struggle of overcoming being defined by this forever. If I am to survive, then I have to keep facing the darkness head-on and refuse to succumb to the temptation to try and sweep it away. I am not sure of much these days, but I am certain that complacency will breed the self-contempt shame needs to overcome me. I'm tired, but I know I cannot stop. Shame is powerful. It cannot be easily dismissed. It is demanding and impatient. It lies and manipulates and can squelch joy in an instant. But it isn't real. It isn't authentic. And somewhere deep down in all this darkness, I will find the power inside me to truly put it in its place. To that end, I patiently aspire.